Hello everyone, I'm Kausar Ahmed. I'm studying in the economics department of STAT. Today I will discuss an important or interesting topic in advanced microeconomics, which is moral hazard in the labor market. First, we can see that what is moral hazard? Moral hazard is when someone change their behavior because they don't face the full consequences of their action in all this work. In economics, it calls hidden action because action are not directly observed by others. So, such an example, we can see the workers who are insured against job loss might work less carefully. A manager can perfectly monitor workers' effort. Worker may work less because they still get paid. So here we get some key points. Moral hazard arise after a contract is signed because the agent can hide effort. So next we can see formalization of the model. Okay. So here is you can see an agent is hired by a principal. Here principal is the boss or employer, and agent is the employee or worker. So the agent chosen an effort level. Okay. High effort or hardworking, more likely to generate high profit, obviously. So low effort or lazy, less profit, but workers save energy. There is a problem. The problem is the boss cannot observe effort directly. It's called hidden action. We see previous. Okay. So profit depends on the probability distribution of effort. High effort increase change of good outcomes, and low effort increase change of bad outcomes. Such an example is a salesperson who makes calls versus one who slags. The employer sees only sales result, but not the effort behind them. Okay. So next we can see the preference of principal and agent. Here we can see the principal is risk neutral, always risk neutral, because cares only about expected profit. Principal cares only about expected profit. So here you can see the revenue, uh, the profit is revenue minus wage, something that here. And agent is risk averse, always. Utility function includes cost effort, okay, or utility is equal satisfaction from wage minus distribution of effort. That is the formula here. We can see the expected net profit, net payoff. Okay. So we here such an example that workers prefer a salary of $1,000 over risky pay tied to uncertain profit. Boss doesn't mind risk. He just care about average outcomes. Then we next see the conflict of interest and contract design. Okay. This is the important thing that conflict principal wants high effort, obviously, and agent prefer low effort. So the situation is that boss is always get high effort from the agent. So there is a solution is was design a wage contract which depends on observed outcome or profit. There are also a solution that principal design a wage schedule contingent on outcomes, profit to motivate high effort, get high effort. Okay. Sales job, such an example is a sales job based on base salary plus commission. Commission motivates effort because pay increase with profit. So next we can say the contract must satisfy two constraints. Okay? There is a two constraint is participation constraint and incentive competitivity constraint. So first we can see the participation constraint. The worker will accept the job only if expected utility greater than or equal outside option reservation utility. That's the formula is here. We can see that there's the formula here. Agent accepted the contract only if this hold. Second, we can see the incentive compatibility constraint (ICC), the agent must prefer to expert the desired effort (EJ). Okay, so the worker must prefer to expert high effort, the most desirable level. Okay, there is the formula here. We can see that the always profit is greater than the reserve outcomes. Okay, and should the agent's optimal choice is effort level desirable by the principal. Okay, so next we can see the principal objective. The principal objective here we can see the principal maximize expected surplus, profit minus waste. Always profit minus waste. Here the profit always high. So the problem is solving two stage. First, first based the no information problem, and second based with moral hazard. Now we discuss the fast based solution or no information problem. So there is a fast based solution. The principal can observe agent effort, no asymmetric information. Here, here you can see that if effort is observable, boss can enforce high effort directly. The result is boss takes all risk, worker gets a fixed wage since boss is risk neutral and worker is risk averse. So this is efficient risk sharing. Okay. Example, salary job in government sector, stable income, little performance pay, because effort can be monitored more easily. Okay? More easily. So here we also see that more easily. So here is the solution of that. The constant must be binding holding with equality, the Lagrangian that solves the maximization problem. The maximization problem, we can get an Lagrangian multiplier. Then we can see the we take the first order condition with respect to the obtain. So here is the main rearranging of the equation, and we can get the fast based solution of the equation. So here is the next slide that we can see that the principal maximize problem is here. Okay, the principal seeks to maximize expected profit subject to the agent participant in constraint. The constraint guarantees the agent voluntary participation in the constraint contract. Hence, it is referred to as the participation constraint or the individual rationality condition. So here is the complete of that solving Lagrangian multiplier. We can see here the Lagrangian multiplier is here, which is a positive because its uh, P prime is greater than zero or equality is greater than zero. Lagrangian also greater than zero entails that the agent participation constant must bind or hold with equity. And now consider the role of risk aversion from the following three possible cases. We will work with the first case that the principal is risk neutral, but the agent is risk averse. The principal is risk averse, but the agent is the risk neutral. Always, both principal and the agent are risk averse. Okay, that we can see. We lastly we can say that since principal is risk neutral always and agent is risk averse. So the optimal contract is fixed wage, no dependence on profit. The principal bears all the risks. So the result is worker gets a stable salary, employee absorb profit variability. Okay. So such an example that government job we can say is a fixed salary or no observation, guaranteed salary regardless of outcome. So that's our topic. I hope you will understand that. Okay. Thank you, everyone.